Hello, I'm Tony.
I'm Louie.
And this is Talking During the Movie. And we have an exciting show for you today. Our last show of the year.
Yes, our last show.
I don't know if you can guess from our set dressing and perhaps our opening, but we're going to do Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Now, I've heard very little about this movie for the last year and a half. So this kind of just dropped in our laps, but I figured, let's give this little film a chance.
You should go because I can. In the Force, much excitement I feel in you, much enthusiasm I sense.
Well, I didn't want to get too excited, like many fanboys out there. We were burned on the prequels. And
really, are you fessing to that? Because
yes.
A lot of people now are doing the whole. It's just trendy to bag on those films. They're perfectly fine. They're not perfectly fine.
No, they're not. No, it's not trendy to bag on them.
I just watched
you can
all
bag on them
of
because
them in
you can.
sequence. They're bad. They're shockingly bad.
Yeah, the prequels are. Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I have no shame about saying.
Okay, good. Go ahead, because I'm gonna have to.
The first one was our episode 1. All right.
No.
2, terrible. 3, a little better, but you almost had nowhere to go but up from 2.
Awful.
So but I am happy to say that this movie is different. Yes.
Go.
All righty.
Spill. I feel that you want to.
Like I said, I did not want to get too excited about this movie, just in case, but there's a lot of pressure on this. But looks like they were putting in their homework. They got the original writer.
J.J. Abrams, good pedigree.
J.J. Abrams, hasn't done a lot of bad stuff. So they were really.
He's already brought one moribund. Franchise.
Right, I was a little worried about that.
Death throws.
I was happy
what
he did with Star Trek, and now he's doing Star Wars as well. I was worried about a little cross contamination.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, just a little bit as a fanboy. Not that the one is better than the others. And we'll let you guys debate that out there. But I thought they were doing their homework and their due diligence to make this right. They wanted to get a good movie because they knew about the prequels and how people perceived about them. And I think they have done well. I think they have done a good job. Yes, I found this movie very entertaining.
It's better than entertaining. I think it's a home run. It's a home run.
It is a home run for them.
Maybe
not a grand slam, but it is a home run.
I've just watched them all right before, and again, let's be fair. The first one came out when I was 18 years old, and it was a big freaking deal.
Yes,
and so
we'll come to that again.
I was a good age to sort of ingest all this as a very, very young adult. I saw it at the Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh, that's the place.
It's one of the first movies I ever saw there. Yeah. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
And there's so much about what we are as Americans. There's so much. There's this weird sort of spirituality / goodness and hope, and the good guy wins, and the sort of Western. It's a lot of who we are and what we are intrinsically.
It's ingrained in our culture, the way very few things have become.
And those second group of films are a sacrilege. And having seen them only made me appreciate this one even more.
That much more.
It did. It's I'm pretty sure everyone is going to be satisfied. Everyone that wants to be satisfied is going to be satisfied.
Right. I think you'd have to be really hard pressed to not find the joy and the goodness that is in this movie.
You know what I think was really a brilliant choice, and he did it. J.J. Abrams did it with the last franchise he brought back to life. They didn't reinvent it; they just rejuvenated it.
Right. You don't have to destroy what's already happened.
But we really should do this darker, or we really need to. Somebody said, let's take everything that's good. And the other thing is, unlike the prequels, the actors are all people that you can't wait to see more of. The characters are people you look forward to getting to know more.
Right.
And the people that they brought back are the people that you wished they would bring back. It's sort of like, okay, I'm going to my class reunion. Who do I hope really shows up? Oh, they did, and they look great. It's got that, which is...
Yeah, well, we knew it had that nostalgia factor to it. That when you see the trailer and Han Solo and Chewie show up inside the.
We're not spoiling anything.
No, this is a happened trailer. So if you
you have to have been in a cave not to know that we're going to get to see the 3.
Right.
That's in the previews. We're going to get to see.
Right. So I think that was part of it, is that they had this big expectation of it. They knew that they had to please the fans, and they basically just took what was good and built on it and said, where can we go with this? Where would the natural story go?
The great thing, though, that not only does it hit the nostalgia, but it's a gateway drug. That if a kid is 8 and sees this,
he's going to love it.
He or she will, and they will not have to have seen the other films.
Right.
And moreover, they're probably going to enjoy the other films more, having caught this one first.
I think it definitely does benefit this, and this movie was made for the fans. It's made for people that have already seen at least the original trilogy. I think there's a few things going on that you would be lost if, or at least you would need some explanation. Yeah, I think the way that it's explained,
it's set out there. Even the things that are like, oh well, this happened.
Yeah, but it's like by the 4th Harry Potter book, you don't have to explain what Quidditch is anymore. You know. But it is a continuation of that story. So I think they do rush a little things based on, and not in a bad way, but based on, you should have seen the first.
They assume you know a couple of things.
Yeah, they assume you know a couple of things. They assume you know who Han Solo is and why it's a big deal when he shows up.
And you probably do.
Yeah. So it does have that bit to it.
And when he shows up, it's a big deal.
Right. I think what some people were expecting was another Star Wars, in the sense that this is something that changed our pop culture and changed the way movies were made. It's not going to have that same impact.
That's not its job.
No, it's not. But I think some people are putting that expectation on it. I want the same feeling I had when I was a young person and saw Star Wars. I'm like, you're not going to get that. The first kiss is over.
You know what?
You're not going to get that first kiss
we
back.
Have become.
So don't
remember
put
the
that
first Star Wars is pre-Tim Burton. I was just saying this. We were watching another one just before I came over here.
What does that mean?
A lot. Tim Burton changed.
You just put black and white stripes on a lot of things.
No. His take on Batman and the way he rejuvenated that franchise became the way you had to do it. You had to look at it through a darker lens.
Well,
you had
Batman
to bring
had
a sense
been dark
of irony
before.
to it.
Batman kind of started off dark, and then the '60s made it camp, and then they kind of brought it back.
Can I tell you, Batman was Jack Nothing before that. Nobody really cared.
I'm just saying, Batman was a thing before that, and Batman started off dark. There were some dark things going on, especially in the comics.
Those of you who are
went
of a
through this
certain
camp
age
in the
know.
'60s, and everyone thought it
Nobody
kind of
gave
had
a
to
damn
go
about Batman until it was a huge phenomenon on television. Really, they did. There was a group. You're right. That a fan was, but it was no big deal.
But I think camp set the tone for a long time, and then when it got back to its darker roots, then that kind of became the new thing.
Okay, my point is this is pre-irony.
Right.
The Star Wars franchise is pre-irony. That
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
That
at
is
your own self.
That is its intention, and at a time when we are so freaking jaded about everything.
Right.
You know, almost everything that looks at the future now is dystopian. Everything. You know, so I think it's so refreshing. I can't believe I'm more enthusiastic about this than you are.
What do you mean I'm not enthusiastic?
I think it's so refreshing that, you know, that there is something, there's some aim at the future that has some sort of romance and hope to it. That's not about children having to kill each other for their families to stay alive, or, you know, we've had to endure a lot of bullshit.
Well, that was kind
or
of
they're
the thing
not
in the
vampires,
literature.
or they're not, you know, they don't, you know, it's.
Well, to me, that almost seems like pandering to the WB crowd. So
it's hopeful. And
there is hope to it.
It's hard to pull off hopeful right now.
Well, there's a lot of. This is the first one that starts off as PG-13, so there's a lot of extra violence going on, and that's again not giving away anything away.
Well,
it was PG-13. It hit a little harder than previous ones, but maybe that's just updating for the times. But there's some rough. You go, ooh, gosh, that was a little heavy for Star Wars.
Obviously, we're trying not to.
Yeah. But it's PG-13. You know something's going to go down.
It's a very simple plot. It's and some of it might even be telegraphed, and you just don't care.
A lot of things were telegraphed in this. You could see some things coming. In the simplicity of it, had it been a little more complex, maybe. But the original Star Wars wasn't that hard. Find the droids, get the plans, blow up the Death Star. That was the original plot.
This is two ridiculously satisfying reboots. This and Creed. I defy you to dislike either of them. I defy you. They're both.
This is very entertaining.
It's interesting though that a young director, took in both cases, these franchises and thought, how can I appeal to the people that love them, and as you said, the romance and the nostalgia, and yet make it seem fresh and exciting.
Well, the merchandising alone for Creed has been in the millions. Toys and bed sheets and stickers. No.
Yeah, a little bit. But I'm saying they both serve their purpose. Please, we're gushing plenty about Star Wars. I wanna get in a pump. I think you should see Creed. But and there's one other thing.
One other thing, just one.
No. Okay. And I want to be classy about this, and I don't want to be bitchy about this.
All right.
But the 40 years shows on our heroes, man.
Mm-hmm.
They've all lived full lives, both as those characters saw a lot of battle and as celebrities. They saw a lot of.
I think that's built into
accidents,
that going
booze.
I'm not worried about that.
Shut up! I'm not. Let me finish.
Okay. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is,
wax on.
It's kind of great when Carrie Fisher turns around. You're like, okay, whoa, and Carrie Fisher's had a rough few decades.
She's had a rough life.
Okay,
yeah.
I mean, I've seen her live shows. She's had a rough.
Yeah, she's very open about that.
It's not been easy, and yet she looks lovely, and all that sort of life that shows on her face is actually really kind of great. Clearly, she's been freshened. Clearly, she's been sent to.
I think they all have.
She's been trimmed and freshened, but she's frail. I know that she is physically frail, and there was something kind of. So they've got to photograph her very carefully. In fact, a lot of times she's photographed over the hugging someone, and you see, and the other times the camera's this tight, and she's speaking like this, and she's speaking.
Well, you could tell there's a couple concessions for the age of the actors. Like Chewbacca's not running full speed around, and doing flips and stuff,
But occasionally they pull back, and Carrie Fisher looks like she is 4'8", slightly humped, and much older. We're the same age. And I'm going to say I think she looks a lot rougher for wear than I do.
Go on. I'm just listening. Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
yes,
I just want to say that they look old, and there's no, as opposed to fuzzing the camera. I mean, a little bit, but they look old.
Well, I like that they, this is a new generation, so they have the new stars, and then the original cast is now supporting. Even if Harrison Ford did get top billing. They're the supporting cast this time, They're the ones kind of passing the torch along, if you will. So
but what I'm saying is I'm trying to walk this line between bitchy and sweet because it's really kind of great when she turns around and you see there's her age almost adds kind of a regality to her being there, and I just thought it was great.
It was nice that everyone got kind of an introduction, old characters and new characters. So it kind of eased the transition.
The new Brit girl is hot.
I think she did very well.
Hot.
Yeah. I think they almost tried too hard not to make her Princess Leia and give her more to do.
She's hot. I think she's prettier than Princess Leia ever was.
Well, she's very. It's an interesting character. She's very capable.
Now we don't have a male ingenue pretty boy for this one, and I hope once
the Stormtrooper doesn't cover that.
Do you think he counts as pretty boy?
I don't think they cast ugly people in this.
No, they're all very, very attractive. But what I'm saying is there's not a...
Did Mark Hamill have that?
There's not a Dudley Do-Right in this. There's not an obvious, oh, look, he's the hero.
I think, again, that's updated for the times. Things are a little more complicated, yeah. I did have a little trouble with some of the science was a little fuzzy. Some of the logic that goes along with that. I mean, you're already asking a lot for us in space and monsters and Wookiees and stuff like that. So there was a couple stretches of the imagination, even for me, even for a big fan. I'm like, you're really pushing it there.
Really?
But, yeah. There was a couple times in there. There's a couple, like, obvious lead-ins and stuff. There's things that are going to be, obviously resolved later. So at least you make a complete story, and they did. But I think some stuff was left for the next ones, and that seems to be the trend now. Like, let's split it into two movies where we're only going to tell part of the story.
I'm going to say
each one's got to be its own.
If you're going to see this in 3D,
which we did,
this is my opinion because I saw it in 3D. But what annoyed me was again, it's almost unless you go to a theater that is IMAX in 3D, very rarely are you going to get the correct lamp on that projection, and it's almost always going to be with a good dinosaur. It really irritated me that you're seeing a print that is darker than the filmmaker intends because the lamp that they're using is not
bright enough.
Is not bright enough.
I didn't notice any lighting issue, at least in the theater that we saw.
I did. I did. I noticed. That can be annoying. It wasn't as bad as The Good Dinosaur, which was profound and really irritating.
Well, pay for a quality theater, folks.
Well, or don't do the 3D at all.
You can still see it's the same movie as long as you get a nice big screen, good sound.
You know,
you don't need the 3D for this.
I don't know that my experience was enhanced by it.
It's a neat factor, but no, it doesn't really enhance. Even for a special effects driven movie like this, you could get away with not seeing the 3D and still have a really, really good movie going experience.
I personally think 3D works best for animated films if you've got the right lens. Personally, myself.
I think it's much easier to transfer.
Again, right.
Yeah,
for all kinds of reasons, I think it works best. But anyway, I think this is a wholehearted thumbs up.
Absolutely, yes. And again, I think more than the others, they're really trying to get you to go to the next step. This is it's its own story, but there's a really big. It's a stepping stone to the next movies.
And yet, it didn't feel like an assignment you had to get through.
Right.
Which all of the prequels feel like. I gotta get through this damn thing so I know I can take the SAT.
Well, you already knew the end point of that one, so I think the tension was a little off.
An amazing case was
off.
made recently by someone much brighter than myself, who wrote a very long thing about maybe you don't need to see those prequels at all. In fact, it might do more harm than good to see the prequels.
You don't need to see the prequels. If you only see the original Star Wars trilogy, and plus the new ones, of course, and died without seeing the prequels, you could die a happy person.
And this guy wrote that actually, if you're going to see them all, that you should sort of a weird order that you should see them so they don't spoil each other.
Yeah,
but
I've heard that theory, and that's a better way to get into it. But
if you've got you'd be better off seeing the originals and blowing off the prequels.
Yeah.
Unless you're into it and you want more or whatever.
Yeah, think of it more as like an extended footnote.
Because they're awful. They're just awful.
You don't need to see them.
They're disrespectfully awful.
It was
you know what I mean? They're disrespectfully awful.
But it was from George Lucas, which was kind of sad. I think it was John Hodgman who described it as the prequels are what happens when a brilliant yet complicated mind has no one to tell him no.
Okay, and that is a very polite way of saying when you give a truly, truly successful nerd way too much money and no
oversight
at all, and just say
there has to be that balance, because you don't want the studio interfering too much in your idea, because you made them $1 billion, but there needs to be some checks and balances. There needs to be some checks and balances. But on the other side, he had carte blanche to make whatever movie he wanted, and those are the movies he wanted to make. So there's something nice on the creative side, like I can do whatever I want.
I'm going to go as far as to say also that
he's got a great attitude about it. He's like, it is what it is.
That the acting in this motion picture is better than any of the acting you'll see in any of the other
prequels. Yeah,
any of them.
From Talented,
in any of them.
From any of them, even Sir Alec Guinness.
Okay, all right, but I'm just saying overall, this ensemble is a much stronger ensemble than any of the ensembles in
even
any
if I thought
of the other films.
I thought a couple things were miscast, but I'm trying to figure out where they were going with this, and then again that might make more sense. But miscast in that they might seem the wrong fit for that particular role that they're meant to do. But everyone in those roles does really well. It's
hard to. I went the first night and I sat there in the bedlam. I got it.
Yeah, we were there as soon as we could. We weren't there Thursday night, but we were there Friday.
It's hard to please these people. These people had amazingly high expectations.
That's why I kept mine low, or lower anyway.
Well, you thought you did, but you probably didn't. You still have a need.
Well, they were, every time another trailer came
out. But you were satisfied.
I was very satisfied. Yes, I am satisfied.
And he's much more into this than myself, and
as clearly you can see here. So yes, I'm excited about this.
Am I not respectful enough?
No, I'm saying my toys here. I'm saying this.
You
not
ain't
you.
Seen nothing.
This.
He has this bizarre treasure trove of things that are.
It's a toy.
It's both
and you fanboys and girls know what I'm talking about.
It's not a toy room. It's a trove.
It's a shrine.
It's a trove.
It's a toy room.
And this is no dig. I'm just saying you've no idea.
And mine's modest compared to some
honestly,
people.
No idea.
You have no idea.
Thousands of things. Thousands.
I would probably say thousands.
Thousands of things.
On the low end of that, maybe 1,000. Maybe 2.
No.
Well, if you count like the individual accessories.
No. There's thousands of things. Anyway,
maybe 2.
We're digressing. The thing is a super fan, a reasonable fan who grew up with the franchise.
I grew up with it too. I was very, very young, but I was there.
How old were you?
I was 4 when Star Wars came out. So I got to go see it in the theater. I think twice.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do the math, folks. You know how old we are.
Okay. Anyway, you're right. So,
well, I was there.
You're not going to be disappointed.
No.
And
no. Just don't go expecting the first kiss again. Don't go expecting the original Star Wars. You're not going to get that feeling back. Go in with a fresh mind
you're gonna sit there, and at some point, your face is gonna get kind of flush. And
if you're a fan, you're going to be very happy with what they've done.
Even if you're not a super fan, even if you're over 40,
right.
you're gonna sit there, and your face is gonna get hot, and you're gonna go, "I am so damn glad somebody did this."
Right. If you grew up,
you're gonna be really glad.
If you grew up with it like we did, and you want to take your 9-year-old to go see it, both of you are going to be happy.
As a perfect gateway.
Yeah.
Perfect gateway drug.
Yeah. I'd say probably maybe no younger than 8 or 9. Like I said, it's PG-13, so use your discretion.
No blood. There's almost no blood, though. It's violence that you'd see much worse violence on a television.
I'm just saying
kids will have been exposed to, I think, much harsher violence.
Yeah, but they shouldn't
TV.
be watching that on TV. Either.
Well, okay, well that's
use your parental, check the rating, and use your own judgment, of course. But yes, a hearty thumbs up from both of us. I would say definitely go see it. Go see it in the theater. Get the best theater you can.
And while we're at it, just a very, very, very quick, while you're out there, don't miss Spotlight. Don't miss Creed. You'll be disappointed by The Good Dinosaur. And anything else, because I really want people to go out and see Creed. I really do.
And if you want counter programming, I think Sisters and Alvin and the Chipmunks Road Trip.
I haven't seen it yet, but anyway,
you don't need to see that.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Well, you don't know.
Yeah, you do. At least for Alvin and the Chipmunks. I'm a big Tina Fey fan, but for Alvin and Chipmunks, you can kind of guess that one. Use your best judgment. Anyway.
Have a very, very Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year. Thanks for watching.
Yes.
We will see you in 2016.
Yeah, because a lot's going to happen. We've got it's going to be Superhero Palooza.
Oh my goodness.
Again. And we'll argue about whether Ben Affleck should be Batman, which he should. It's hot. It's so hot.
That's a discussion.
It is. No.
That's a discussion for another day.
Oh, he's so hot.
Oh, we've got to go. We'll come back to this. Oh, we've got
No, it's a good idea.
I'm a Superman fan, and I have strong opinions about the
really
latest trailer.
A good idea.
All right. Well, that's a discussion for another time. We've gone a little over time.
He's going to class it up. All right.
We haven't forgiven him for Daredevil. All right.
You haven't.
I'm Tony.
I'm Louie.
And this has been Talking During the Movie. Thank you very much. We'll see you next year.
Bye.
Just hot though, man. That doesn't make it a good movie though. Hot people make terrible movies all the time. That doesn't make them any better.